implementation is a situational analysis investigating the social, cultural and political context of the community that surrounds St. William's Catholic Primary School. More specifically, these contexts will be evaluated to address the continuing effects on children, families, early childhood education and care programs and services, including how information, communication and technology impact the community. Specific images of childhoods and families within the St. William's School community will be highlighted to examine the voice, agency and power of their students. Once these topics have been issued, it can then be brought to attention the role of the educator.
In particular, how can the educator ensure that positive images of children and families are being portrayed throughout their professional experience practicum and within the surrounding community, and how can the educator plan for influences that will have implications on pedagogical practice?
To begin, here is some insight into the St. William's School community. It is a non-government Catholic primary school located in Capera on Brisbane's north side. The school's mission statement is:
we believe in providing a holistic Catholic education. We believe in providing quality teaching learning experiences. We believe in developing happy, disciplined and well-balanced children.
The spacious 4.5 hectare campus accommodates for roughly 432 students across prep to year 6. The gender of these students is fairly even, with 51% boys and 49% girls. Among these students, 3% have an Indigenous background and a further 9% have a language background other than English. In turn, St. William's requires around 33 teaching staff and 25 non-teaching staff to ensure all of the needs of the school community are being met.
Amongst these teaching staff, there are a range of specialist teachers that provide children with experiences in health and physical education, the Italian language, musical arts including choir and instrumental lessons, and library exploration. Additionally, the school offers extracurricular activities, including chess, debating, public speaking, and science club. The school is also heavily linked and involved with their parish, which is positioned in the front entrance of the school grounds. Attached to the school is also an outside school hours care.
There are certainly influences that impact the social, cultural and political context within the school community. These more prominent influences are both positive and negative in terms of how they impact the views on children, childhoods and families. Furthermore, the impacts investigated below include a social constructivist approach to education, cultural diversity within the school and their involvement in the broader community, Catholic religious influences and government funding for ICT resources.
One prominent issue found in the school's setting and community was social and cultural influence. Through the analysis of St. William's, it can be concluded that the surrounding community has adopted a child-centred approach to curriculum. In regards to the social aspect of the learning environment, St. William's has adopted a social constructivist approach through their use of group seating arrangements, collaborative learning with other classrooms, and their engagement of family and community relationships.
Bronford Brenner's ecological model for childhood is evident in St. William's practices, as it aligns with the views that a child's everyday life is embedded in the surrounding community or ecosystem. It can be concluded that St. William's adopts a contemporary view of children in regards to their competence in education. St. William's encourages a child's voice, power and agency in regards to their own learning. This is done through an implementation of democratic values in regards to the education system.
Klisma and Sternberg explain this as child input is highly incorporated and education is focused more on development personalities with little focus on traditional academic areas. The system believes competency through relevant scaffolding and interests help form lifelong learning traits. The pedagogical practice of St. William's are heavily influenced by Dewey and Vygotsky and with the Catholic understanding of learning as a community.
In regards to the role of the educator, it is crucial to create positive learning environments for both children and families. Educators need to be aware of both the social and cultural factors of the school environment that will influence the children and their development. Professionally, as educators, it is crucial to recognise the changing context of historical and contemporary perspectives on educational pedagogy and practice, and adapt our teaching to suit the world in which we live in. In order to effectively do this, it is important for the educator to adopt a growth mindset. The spacious 4.5 hectare campus accommodates for roughly 432 students across prep to year 6. The gender of these students is fairly even, with 51% boys and 49% girls. Among these students, 3% have an Indigenous background and a further 9% have a language background other than English. In turn, St Williams requires around 33 teaching staff and 25 non-teaching staff to ensure all of the needs of the school community are being met. It is obvious that we are all unique individuals who have individual social, emotional, intellectual and physical qualities. We are all born belonging to a culture that is influenced by traditional practices, heritage and ancestral knowledge, but also by the experiences, values and beliefs of individual families and communities. Although each student at St Williams is uniquely individual, only 3% have an Indigenous background and only 9% have a language background other than English. These statistics do not encourage a high level of cultural diversity amongst the classroom, and this could limit or challenge the school's community's exposure to cultural awareness. This is said due to the fact that culturally responsive classrooms specifically acknowledge the presence of culturally diverse students, and the need for these students to find relevant connections among themselves and with the subject matter and the task teachers ask them to perform.
If there is little culture amongst the classrooms, then there is little opportunity for the children to interact with vastly different beings. Australia is one of the world's most culturally diverse countries, which is why it is so vital that all children are culturally aware to show sensitivity and inclusion. To achieve this, the educator must also be culturally aware and effectively model sensitivity and inclusion. However, through this, the school has developed an active social justice focus, which invites the students and families to present at community events and contribute to local and international charities. This involvement with the broader community increases a sense of social responsibility by providing a global view of society, which allows students to apply learning in real life, increases exposure to multiculturalism, improves communication skills, and may assist students to pinpoint their interests.
Another cultural impact that is strongly influenced within the St Williams school community is their involvement in Catholic practices and traditions. Catholicism is heavily embedded not only because it is a Catholic school, but also due to the St Williams Parish Church being easily accessible at the entrance of the school. With the parish church being located on the school grounds, it is often utilised by the school for classes, masses, ceremonies, etc. It is also evident that enrolment procedures reflect openness to all students whom parents or guardians are committed to further understand, support, and live the values of the Catholic tradition. This statement on the school's website is directly below the term inclusive, yet it does not show inclusion to those children and families with varying religious beliefs. Upon further investigation, the school's website states that students are actively involved in constructing understanding of the Catholic tradition, as well as acknowledging other religious traditions, the nature of religion and its place in the Australian society. Again, this statement shows that the Catholic influence is specifically highlighted and outweighs other religious beliefs. It is important that St Williams School and its educators not only accommodate for all the students with their diverse beliefs, but also make their beliefs known and valued amongst the community. Educators must be aware of various cultures and understand that if a belief is not Christian, that does not make it incorrect.
Over the past century, many key technologies have been introduced into our world, resulting in our society becoming technology-based and reliant. In the 20th century, bringing technology into our classrooms became an economic priority, which saw millions of dollars being allocated to school funding. In the years of 2012 to 2015, when the Liberal government was in charge, $9.8 million was dedicated to enhancing science, technology, maths and engineering in our local schools. So for St Williams, this funding meant the introduction of smart boards into every classroom and the provision of laptops and tablets to each child and classroom. Since Labor has taken over, funding has been cut dramatically, However, St Williams still strives to provide their students with effective and current ICT devices and experiences.
As an educator, it is important to consistently improve your teaching abilities and ensure you're incorporating relevant strategies into your classroom. In today's world, this means ICT and using it effectively. Technology can develop collaborative working skills, team building skills, and communication skills. As students from the 21st century move into a world that is very much technology based, they are more likely to encounter educational items in digital form more than traditional paper forms. As teachers, it is crucial that ideas on how to interact with digital resources are consistently thought about and put into place.
It is also crucial that teachers are implementing ICT into the classroom in an effective way that will benefit children. Although ICT has provided children with many benefits when it comes to their education, it is seen through recent research that the increase in marketing influence, social media, and use of digital technologies is having a negative impact on our children, their behaviour, and health. This shows the importance for teachers to ensure their use of ICT in classrooms is safe and educated.
In conclusion, this situational analysis investigated the social, cultural and political context of the community that surrounds St Williams Catholic Primary. More specifically, these contexts have been evaluated to address the continuing effects on children, families and early childhood education and care programs and settings, including how information and communication technology impacted the community.
The role of the educator in these settings is to ensure that positive images of children and families are being portrayed throughout their professional experience practicum and within the surrounding community. Through the conclusion of each context, information on pedagogical practice has been explored and examples of implementation provided.